sama waa ji nag yaa ngi bëgg a yàgg ci dëkk bi sa holiday yi gudd na lool sax.
vacances yi yàgg na waaye dama ne naa ñibbisi ci sama réew. investir.
wax nga dëgg sa saafara man maa ko yor jóge ñu dem topp ma.
ci sama waaj da ngaa bëri pexe de topp ma.
xam ngeen Gambia léegi dafa open. loolu moo waral global properties jóg. jaay la kër doo manqué courant doo manqué ndox da ngay am pool maanaam piscine sa disposition di nga am beach bi sécurité 24 hours. te soo bëggee investir aussi nga mën a investir sa réew jënd kër di ko louer. hôtel yi na xam baax na waaye nag am na gan yoo xam ni dañoo bëgg bu ñu ñëwee ci réew nekk à l'aise nekk ci bërëb boo xam ne dañu am seen waañ bu ñu bëggee togg seen lekku dëkk dañu am seen salle bu mag am seen néegu bopp am seen lépp loolu yëpp ak global properties mën na nekk.
jërëjëf def leen ni man ñëw leen global properties ngeen jënd seeni kër aar seen ëllëg ak bu seen njaboot.
Hello, wonderful viewers, wonderful subscribers. This is Active TV again for another fast and a quick update. Mbadi mulu, mbalbe tentula, mbalbe jaila, mbalbe bismillah la kotake. Active TV pour kana kibaro dofana bunda nan kotake miyalon ko akabo Gambia banko kan andung abedendi. United Democratic Party la aning ila commando ikafumiyako Momodou Sabally. As you all were aware that Momodou Sabally got rejected during his nomination or submitting his nomination papers to the IEC, the Independent Electoral Commission, yesterday. Badingolu nalbe hakilo bakang Momodou Sabally molemati miyalonko Independent Electoral Commission miyalonko alota Gambia banko kampurka katefa o Kenya jube iketa moti miyalonko Momodou Sabally yala kaitolta ye murunda kan iko katun mole mati miyalonko commission miyalonko alota Gambia banko kan di jane commission ka financial call jube miyalonko jamme dunta wala kono Gambia la president koto nafulo dunyana afinto anim fanan ay nafulo tinyanya men Gambia banko kan ikata molti miyalonko e commission londi Gambia banko kan commission la tiski siroldo inataje ko Momodou Sabally mole mati miyalonko ay jamme ma koy kendeke wala tinna ate bulo nota commission on nata kaito di president nata kuonyinta ka endorse anim fanan ka validate President Adama Barrow. Momodou Sabally, after his rejection, United Democratic Party UDP holds a press conference rejecting this decision of the IEC Independent Electoral Commission under the leadership of Honorable Lawyer Ousainou Numukunda Darboe. UDP bring Momodou Sabally rejection on nata IEC mundiala. UDP ite fanan nata press conference o kumandi ka journalist ol bendi Gambia banko kan kadiyam Gambia anan dunia kaitandi ko IEC ye ko mu yalan ko yelo ka Momodou Sabally kula mi yalan ko anan luwamanta. Honorable Darboe aitandi ko jamme commission o yaje ko jamme la kodo waranto ala fewon mi yalan ko be Gambia banko kan e bolle wafila kodo mi yalan ko awle tinya ye takon ako bari Momodou Sabally kuman la kan kafo anyanta ka nyine jo ako woto momi yalan ko iman joru ko landi o karala ibo mari banda no nyaadi la from holding a public office chokoroga dia wala fanga da kon Honorable Lawyer Ousainou Numukunda Darboe UDP la barama ba UDP la secretary general and party leader adiamuda kanyun kota ka bay kendeke ako 48 hours yoldi Momodou Sabally etefnali be simfal tala koñing prokajo ko ise Momodou Sabally nominate no nyamen anum fanang busumbala constituency pro aylo UDP 12 ngani na sotali bi alma ale Gambia so kairola kendeke ani Gambia dingul be dawadande alma ale kairo di bela. This is Active TV update.
At the end of their interaction, he says, I reject your nomination. I do not accept your nomination because the Commission of Inquiry has banned you from contesting under Section 91E of the Constitution. A constitutional issue arose immediately when he looked at the documents. For him, there is a constitutional issue. And that constitutional issue could not be determined or should not be determined by the returning officer. That should be determined by the Supreme Court, because if an issue of the interpretation or of the Constitution arises, the proper person, authority to do so, is the Supreme Court, is not the returning officer, whom, with all due respect to him, I know is not even a barrister to really interpret the Constitution to determine an important issue as the right of the people of Busumbala to elect their representative to the National Assembly. However, gentlemen of the press, you are all aware that in 2017, by legal notice number 15, a commission of inquiry was established to investigate a whole lot of things concerning former President Yahya Jammeh and his close associates. That commission is commonly known, okay, everybody calls it as the Janneh Commission. He was the chair, a very, very erudite lawyer, a very accomplished lawyer, a lawyer who knows the ins and outs of the Constitution and other laws of the Gambia. And certainly, when he presides over any commission of inquiry, one would always find that whatever that commission comes out with would certainly be one that would not be susceptible to different interpretations. No, that will not allow. Because that commission, one of the terms of its reference is, and I quote, to present its findings to the government, making such recommendations as it deems fit in relation to any person or matter, and anybody, and embodying in its report a full statement of the reasons, leading to those findings. A full statement of the reasons. Now, we know that the Commission has really submitted its report. And insofar as it relates to Mr. Momodou Sabally, Volume 1 and 2 of the Commission's report, page 207, deals with former Secretary Generals, Njogu Elba and Momodou Sabally. And it says, I'm quoting the Commission's report, former Secretary Generals, Messrs. Njogu Elba and Momodou Sabally also facilitated the process for ex-President Jammeh to withdraw sums of money, particularly from the numerous accounts mentioned above, such as tax recovery account at GTB, Kanila International Festival tribute for Michael Jackson, International Gateway account at CBG, and they should be sanctioned. That is what the Commission says. And then it goes on to say, tax revenue account, ex-President Jammeh and Njogu Elba are jointly liable for $15,536,609 cash withdrawal and $946,278 cash withdrawal and $19,311,683 for payments deemed to be ineligible. There were also sums $1 million from the International Gateway account, and money should be refunded by him. Then it goes on to say they should not serve in any public office again or be appointed as directors for any state-owned SOES for 10 years. Now, gentlemen, these are the findings of the commission. That there's nothing criminal in that. Now, this man, I'm sure maybe he didn't even have this report, just says that the commission has ordered that you'll be banned. But why should anybody be banned by the Constitution under Section 90 of the disqualifications from membership of the National Assembly? That provision of the Constitution states, and I quote, "No person is qualified for election as a member of National Assembly office by reason of, 1, having acquired assets unlawfully." That's one reason why you should not, that if the commission makes such a recommendation, then you are disqualified by reason of acquired assets unlawfully, or defrauded the state, or misused or abused his or her office, or unlawfully acted in a manner prejudicial to the interests of the state, and the findings have not been set aside on appeal or on judicial review. Now, gentlemen of the press, it is clear from the findings of the commission that Mr. Sabally was only found to be liable in civil debt. There is no finding of the commission, no recommendation by the commission that he should be banned from holding office because he has abused his office, or he has misused his office, or he has defrauded the state, or he has acquired assets unlawfully. There is no such thing mentioned by the commission. For this gentleman just to sit down there with a wave of his hand and say, no, you are disqualified, not even knowing what the content of the report of the commission is, not even adverting his mind to the Constitution and say, what, these things, do they fall within Section 91E? Do they fall within it? And we strongly believe that it does not. But again, this probably a grand design to have Mr. Sabally candidature defeated. Now, the government's white paper on this also does not talk of Mr. Sabally having acquired assets unlawfully, or having defrauded the state, or having acted in a manner inimical to the state, or having abused his office or misused his office. Never. The government white paper also doesn't say so. Now, the white paper states this. It's very short on most. It said, Mr. Momodou Sabally started at the central bank as, how do I stop this? How do I stop? Yeah. Mr. Momodou Sabally started at the central bank as an economist from 1999 to 2009. He was director of budget at the Ministry of Finance from 2010 to 2013. He was appointed as acting Secretary General in June 2013, and then subsequently confirmed as Secretary General and Minister for Presidential Affairs in the same year. His service was terminated in June 2014. The Commission found inter alia that during his tenure as Secretary General, Mr. Momodou Sabally was signatory to various public accounts and was involved in the withdrawal of large sums of public funds, some of which were not accounted for on the instructions of former President Jammeh. The Commission found that Mr. Momodou Sabally and former President Jammeh are jointly and severally liable for the said amounts of money misappropriated by former President Jammeh. The government notes that Mr. Sabally's many involvements in the financial transactions of former President Jammeh, which was not part of his official duties, especially as Secretary General, demonstrates the enthusiasm with which he facilitated these transactions. His conduct fell far short of the standard of professional conduct expected of the head of civil service at the time. Consequently, the Commission accepts the recommendations that Mr. Momodou Sabally should not serve in any public office again or be appointed as director of any state-owned enterprises for at least 10 years. Come on. Mr. Sabally is hereby banned from holding public office for the remainder of his life. The monies shall be recovered from the assets of former President Jammeh. So all this shows that Mr. Sabally did not acquire any monies unlawfully. It shows that Mr. Sabally did not defraud the state. It shows that Mr. Sabally did not abuse his office, so that everything was at the instance of the president, of former President Jammeh. Now, how could it be that for me owing money, civil debts, even if the government, why should that stop me from holding, contesting elections? Why should Section 91E be a bar because I owe money? And in fact, government says that, no, Jammeh should pay these monies. And it was justified because Mr. Sabally never misappropriated funds, he never defrauded the state, he never abused his office, he never did anything inimical to the interests of the state. Because I know the chairman of that commission that this officer, returning officer, the reasons why Mr. Sabally could be disqualified from contesting elections are not contained in the report of the commission. And this, in fact, confirmed by the white paper, which says that all the monies that Mr. Sabally was alleged to have should be refunded from the assets, should be recovered from the assets of the former president. Why ban him? Why ban him? We want to put out this to the world and to say that, again, IEC is at it again. IEC is at it again to help the NPP win but he cannot swear motu. He cannot swear motu. Really reject that when he doesn't even acquaint himself with the white paper, the report, as well as the constitution. For all I know, unlawful acquisition of assets is criminal. For all I know, defrauding the state is criminal. For all I know, misappropriating a fund is criminal. And then, of course, for all I know, liable. For all I know, that liable is one indicating indebtedness. And that if you are liable for monies, it means that you owe the money. And the Constitution does not have that as a disqualification. Being indebted is not a disqualification. I hope that the institutions of state, particularly the IEC, at this crucial moment of the life of this country, should be very careful how they handle these thorny political issues, how they handle these thorny political issues which are governed by laws. And proper thing for him to have done was the provisional acceptance and consult the Attorney General on this, or their own leader or their own lawyers. But he says Mr. Sabally has 48 hours. Will not only appeal within that 48 hours, but will also challenge the decision in the High Court, as others have done previously, as CA did with the nomination of Mr. Cisse, as my party also did with his nomination. We'll do that, and we'll show that Mr. Sabally contests these elections. That's what we're going to do. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I have concern. See, virtually all the access routes to my house, you have paramilitary stationed in them. Even at the back, you have paramilitary stationed there. This is an act of provocation. We are law-abiding citizens of this country. I want to appeal to the Inspector General of Police to please withdraw your men. This house, this office, crowds will come here. This is a political season. And nobody is going to stop a UDP crowd coming here. And whatever we do, we are going to do it within the confines of the law. Please, let us help out each other to keep the peace and tranquility of this country. That is in our interest, all of us. And do not believe that because you have men whom you have supplied with tear gas, that they can really cow the entire nation. No, they cannot. But that should not happen. That situation should never arise. Leave us. We are law-abiding citizens. We have always, for the past 27 years, since the founding of the UDP, we have always been doing things in accordance with the law. We have not done anything to be in contravention of the law in this country, and will continue to do so. But we must also not be provoked. You cannot bring your men, station them to access roads, and then you have my supporters coming here. This is the political season, coming here for various reasons, and trying to intimidate them or trying to stop them from coming. That is not acceptable. Please, ask your men to withdraw your men. And I'm appealing to all those people who preach peace for this country, who promote stability in this country, to please join me and ask the Inspector General of Police to really use his men on better circumstances than this one. We will never do anything that goes wrong against the law, but we will also not be stopped from embarking legitimately on the exercise of our legitimate political rights. Human Rights Commission, please, you heard me. You have invited us and the IEC and others to a meeting on the 15th, discuss human rights issues. And this is one of the fundamental human rights issues. For political parties to carry on with their political activities unhindered, unimpeded. It's a fundamental human right. And we want you to join us to ask the Inspector General of Police, please, not to provoke us. We've seen the very ugly scene in videos of how a gentleman was being brutalized, at least about 5 PIU officers, maltreating him, torturing him. You could have, easily arrest him and put him in handcuffs. You don't need to brutalize him. And we've seen that on videos. And this sort of situation cannot continue to happen. It's just that our people acted with good sense, because there were a lot of people around who could have descended on those 5 or 6 police officers and handled them. But our people, they acted with sense of responsibility, that if the police behave irresponsibly, they as citizens of this country will not behave irresponsibly. Gentlemen of the press, this is all I have to tell you. As the events unfold, we will keep you engaged, we will keep you informed. One thing I know is that Mr. Sabally's rejection is wrong. The person who took upon himself to interpret the law is wrong. He has no authority to do so. I thank you all.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, Party Leader.